Hi, everyone. So I'm Jeanne. I'm a compliance specialist, and I'm here to present to you how we can set up a cookie banner and how to run an audit with our tool. So we are specialized in consent management. We are live on more than 90,000 websites and apps. I just want you to have in mind that the main steps in order to be cookie compliant on your website, on your apps, are first of all going through an audit. This is what we're going to do within a few minutes. So this will help you acknowledge what is really happening on your website or on your app. And the three main steps to create a banner is first of all to create the consent notice, then embed the deck, and then integrate with your vendors. So we're going to start the audit part right now. I have run the tool on one of a well-known websites. The tool is just shared in different spaces. So first of all, you have here a compliance score, which is calculated through some key elements that we have here, and you have more details on the different parts here. So it helps you know how compliant you are, how many cookies are created, and how many vendors have been listed on the website. Here, since it's a demo tool, we only do it and just see how many cookies were created or how many vendors we have seen on a simulated human visit. So it's about 10 pages and within a few minutes. So once you are here, if you want to have some more information on your cookies, for example, you can just open them and then you will know why you are only reaching a 30% compliance score and why is it so. So for example, in this case, the website provides information about the purposes and the vendors, but you cannot really make a choice as a user. Some cookies are really, really too long. The privacy policy is clear. It's easy to find, but again, you cannot opt out as a user. Here you have the vendor's view. So you can see what are the links between your website and all the other websites, all the vendors. They are all here. And then you will have a lot of information depending on which one you click. So how many cookies are created, who initiated the cookie creation, how many tags were fired, and whether the security report for this partner is positive or negative. You also have these views that I showed earlier during the session we have on app compliancy. So you can zoom in or zoom out and see, for example, what partner communicates with whom. And this helps you obtain a perfect list of what's going on your website. So you can do an Excel extraction on which you will have all the necessary information concerning your cookies, the partners, the cookie lifetime, obviously, the domains, and any content that a cookie might keep, etc., etc. So this is how the audit works. It gives you quite a precise picture of what's going on your website and how to be able to get all this information readable for your users on the website. Do we have any question on this audit part? Maybe it's time to tell me if I've been unclear for it. Are we good? Okay, great. Then we can move on and go to the banner creation, which is also what interests you here. So I pre-created a banner, a consent notice for web, and I will show you how this works. So First of all, you create a notice. Obviously, I did it already. You give it a name. All you have to do is choose how you want to configure it. So whether it's a website notice, an accelerated media page, or a mobile app. Then you target the domains concerned with this notice, whether it's you want to implement it on all the domains or only a custom list of domains. If you choose the custom domains, then you will have to add them here. Once it's done, you go to the look and feel part. So this one is the aesthetic part. So you have to pick up the right format for your case, your users. So obviously you can choose a top or a bottom banner. You can also choose the pop-in banner, depending on who your users are, but globally we obtain a much more higher concentrate by using the pop-in one. I don't know, but most brands just think that it's the more discreet the banner is, the better it is for the user experience. While if you want to have a high concentrate, and you might have this higher concentrate by using a pop-in, because all the information needed, your logo, and everything that you want to share with your user will be available right in front of their eyes, and this will help you get a higher concentrate. So here you can choose the brand colors, the links colors, the font, add the URL, the logo URL. So this is where you kind of set all the look aesthetic. And here you have the language part. So you have to choose a by default language. So if the user's language is not available, for example, the default language will be set up. And then you can enable languages. So as I was saying earlier in the other session, we have more than 30 languages available. And so once you have enabled languages, for example, the solution will just go through the browser and know what is the language that the user uses as a by default browser language. And then the banner will be automatically provided in its language. Here you have the company name, the privacy policy URL that you have to add into your banner. And we have pre-written text that you can absolutely modify. And you can do it for any language that you have enabled. So for example, if you have different privacy policy URL, you can just change the link in there. So every user, for example, a Spanish-speaking user will get the privacy policy in Spanish, and so on. Here you can set up the second and the third windows text and content and views. And if all the aesthetic choices that we are proposing were not enough, you are able to custom it even more with this custom CSS window, in which you just have to add a few information, a few CSS code, and then you will manage everything from here. All our documentation is public, so all the help needed is within the documentation, and I will be happy to share all this information with whomever wants it. So this is the second part, in which you just configure your vendors and partners. So thanks to the audit we saw earlier, you know exactly with whom you want to share the consent. So all you have to do here is pre-select them. And just over here, you have all the purposes linked to these vendors. So depending on whom you are working with, it's already linked. So if you just pick up a vendor who only works with the first category, let's say this one. This one drops cookies linked to all the categories, but some of them are only linked to some categories, so you won't have to collect all the consents. You would just have to collect the consents that are linked to your partner specifically. We use the IAB framework purposes because it covers nearly everything. But if you wanted to use some categories or just link them manually, you can do it by here. Then you have to choose where you want your banner to be applied. So if you are in the UK or in any European Union country, you have to apply your banner globally. But if you are outside these countries, you can just choose to apply it to the EU visitors and the UK. The different DPAs have like different positions, obviously, on how you can collect the consent. So what the positive action really means. For most DPAs, the positive action must be a click on the I agree button, and anything else will not be considered as I agree, but I agree. But for example, the Spanish AEPD is still okay with the delay of navigation or the scrolling on the screen. So these options are available here, and you can configure it. Here you have an option that helps you not present the banner to the bots who go through your website, so you have a good SEO ranking. So if you enable this option, the banner will appear for all the bots coming to reference your website, to index your website. So if you enable it, the banner will not appear when it's not a human visit, and this will help you have all the UK words appearing to the bot's visit. Another element which is quite important is that whenever your partner vendors list is changing, you have to recollect the consent. If your list is quite stable, that you don't have to recollect the consent too often, then you might want to set this at 0, like you don't have to wait any day to recollect the consent. But if you have some partners who are a list that is not that stable, then you might want to cap the duration in which you don't want to recollect consent, so your users won't be tired and you won't see a consent rate drop. So here you have all the automatic integrations that I mentioned. So obviously for the ad part, you have the IAB transparency and consent framework. You also have all the Google Ad Exchange and Ad Exchange products. And you have the Salesforce product. So this will allow us to directly share the consent with them. So you won't have to do anything manually. And we also have direct integration with tag managers. So with Adobe, with Commanders Act, with Eulerian, with GTM, and Telium. If you don't have any tag manager, we also have some precise documentation on how you can manage everything. And that's it. You're done. Your banner has been created. So what remains is just copy this code into the higher part possible of your website. So the CMP will be launched quite quickly. And then you can start collecting consent. Here you have the link that you might want to add in the footer of your web page, because it will help your users modify their preferences at any time if they want to. And even if it's not necessary to be compliant, this is one of the best practices that has been mentioned. So there we go. At any time, I'm sorry I didn't say it earlier, but at any time at any level, you can have a preview of the banner you have just created. So this is, you just have a pop-up window that will help you see what it looks like. All right. So do we have some questions now, or are we good? I think my colleagues have been able to answer most of your questions, so maybe I can show you some compliant banners that we pre-selected. All right. There we go. So okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. So these banners are not compliant, as we can see, because we don't have the purposes that we saw, and we don't have a real choice possible. This one allows to manage the partners or to agree, but you absolutely cannot manage the purposes, and this is something that is important too. So the categorization, it might be called by some other partners. Here also, you are just sent to pages who show you how you can change your settings in your browser. This is not allowed anymore, so you absolutely have to set up a real consent management platform. And again, these are not really considered as compliant, even if it's not the main target today, but they do not offer the same engagement when it comes to give or withdraw your consent, because you have to click on every button to give your consent, to withdraw your consent for these purposes. And here you have to do it twice. So you have to enter the performance cookies category and then disable it. Right. Well, if you have any questions on this demo or any other information, we are happy to be able to stay with you a little bit more, and so share more best practices and anything that might be useful for you. So please let me know. I'll contact my colleagues.